Type my own name in a Google as if it was really about to bring something up because I was looking for my email. I'm tripping. I literally was looking for my email to type myself in. What the fuck just happened? Oh. There you go. Oh, we live right now.
I definitely verbalized that I was doing that, y'all. Like,
no, yeah, for sure. And then the door got on some other shit. No,
yeah.
Cool. I mean, ain't nobody bugging. I mean, shit.
Hey guys, I'm Chris. VJ is in the air, I think, like on a plane.
Like on a plane, yeah.
Or at the airport or on her way home or something at this point. And then that over there, this way, that's Penrose.
My name is Penrose, motherfucking James.
Yeah, man. So it's all docked up. And I am so excited about this one. Like, yo, I'm so excited.
That's what it goes.
Okay. Let me tell you the story. So just like one day I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just about to really like just veg out and just not go. I'm just going to lay on my bed and I'm just going to watch it, right? So I fucking went on Netflix, went under documentaries, found the doc, watched the doc, loved the doc. Then I was like, fuck, I know that Steve Carell and Channing Tatum were in a movie about this, I think. So then I go look for the movie. Can't find it nowhere on none of my jailbroke fire sticks. Very upsetting. So then I literally, nigga, I never buy stuff, nigga. I literally, what is happening with what? Like, like you just got here. Like, what is happening with what, Jay? Like,
right. You just walked in the door.
You just came in like, what is happening? I think she's still drunk from earlier. She's been out with her friends today, and she's been doing a lot of stuff. So anyway, so I love the documentary, and I'm like, yo, can't find this. I can't bootleg this movie nowhere. I really broke down and rented it for like 24 hours. Like, really? Fuck it. I rented it, and I watched it, and I didn't hate it. But I was very disappointed with in comparison to the documentary.
Yeah.
And then I went a little further because I'm a fucking maniac. And then I just like went on, like figured it out that the reason that the movie is a little bit different than the documentary that we're about to cover is because they kind of fabricate the fact that what was his Dave Schultz is the wrestler that we'll be talking about today. His brother was Mark Schultz, right? I think his name is Mark.
I remember a brother.
That Mark. So yeah, so Channing. Well, right, because in the documentary you don't hear anything about him, but in the movie, Channing Tatum plays Mark, and it's as if Mark and Dave are at Team Foxcatcher at the same time, but they're not at all. Oh. Mark starts there, right? And then DuPont figures out like, yeah, you're okay, but your brother's better. So right. I kind of want your brother. And then some shit started happening where Mark was feeling kind of neglected from DuPont. And so Mark left and then Dave came.
Okay.
So the movie kind of like obscured that to give Channing Tatum a part in the movie. And I didn't really understand why. So,
I mean, I never knew about him, Mark. So you telling me kind of actually, even though, you know, the ending was still what it was, mm-hmm. It kind of actually makes more sense now on why it happened that way.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't say don't watch the movie, but I think if you want a more clear depiction of like the actual events, I'm gonna definitely tell you to go with the documentary that we watched this time, which is called Team Foxcatcher. You guys can find this on Netflix right now. It's fucking great. Let's get into it. So I threw out a couple of names already. Let's just kind of talk about, before we get into who Dave Schultz is, let's talk about why we're here. Let's talk about who is the founder, the creator of Team Foxcatcher. We are talking about fucking John DuPont.
I thought you was about to try to throw the middle name in there, and I was going
to say
brownie points.
Wait, and nigga, because I wish you could have saw my eyes dark because I felt like I wrote it down and I don't know what it was, but I'm gonna make it up and I'm gonna say that his name is John F. DuPont, And the F stand for philanthropist.
The F is for Phoenicia.
The F is for fucking insane.
Right.
Listen. Okay, so let's talk about the DuPont family a little bit, right? They're from the Philly area. That's accurate, right?
That is accurate.
Apparently, like DuPont is French, I think. So I don't know how or why they have this money, but they're apparently.
So you don't remember being? Come on, man. We're from the Midwest. Our mothers had all type of DuPont shit in their house.
Oh, the shit, like the cleaning people shit, like the appliances and shit. Oh, nigga, that shit didn't even cross my mind. Like, why would a lunatic be involved with things that have cleaned my house? But then we have to go back to remember that a lunatic also created the best antivirus system ever.
They got pissed at niggas because they didn't think it was dope. I'm gonna show you niggas. Sign up. But yeah, lunatics seem to be involved with some of the best shit ever. Then they just go crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he obviously wasn't the person making the appliances. This is like old money, right? How do we explain how he got to the fucking sports arena?
You know, the way they broke it down was he was always involved in sports, but he was involved in fencing. He was involved in pentathlons. He was involved in horseback riding, and all of that shit. And he
sucked.
And he did. He sucked at
everything he touched, nigga. He sucked.
Yikes. He couldn't shoot a gun properly. He couldn't. When they showed that horse jump that fucking fence,
nigga, and he fell. I said, like, you know, this nigga was clearly dead because there's no way that he would have cleared that to be in the documentary. Yo, you guys know how, like, when fucking horses are doing, like, the little fucking, what do you call it, like, obstacle courses? Yeah. And then, like, they jump over the thing, like, the horse jumped, like, and then he, like, lost all fucking balance on the horse, and he was on the side of it. It was crazy.
My man didn't even just, like, fall forward a little bit. That nigga slid down.
He slid over to the side. His legs was in the air is what I'm trying to tell y'all. So, like, he was not good at anything that he tried his hand in, but he liked the camaraderie, the like sense of like family, because his family wasn't really, I mean, y'all know how rich white people it is, like with them and their families.
And him and his siblings were I think the age gap was huge.
Yeah. Where like basically by the time he was growing up in the house, he was basically the only person there because they were all gone. Like,
they were gone. Siblings were like 18, 19 when he was born, some weird shit like that.
Yeah, like where they were literally out of the house.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a basic like tragic like rich man story. Like dad leaves the family, you gotta make an appointment to see this nigga, and sometimes he don't even care if you made that appointment.
When I seen that part, I said, yeah, this nigga said he had to. It's like calling you like, Dad, can you pencil me in? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
but really, you can't call your dad. You gotta call Nancy, his secretary, and be like, yo, this is my dad's son. Like, is there any way that like I can see him this week? And Nancy be like, all right, I'm gonna get you on Thursday. But then Nancy call you 30 minutes on Thursday before your scheduled time. Be like, yo, shit is running late. He ain't gonna make it. He'll see. He said pencil him in next month. Like.
How or the lady that's feeding you fucking hand to mouth at 13 years old, you're like, hey, have you seen my dad? Don't worry about that.
Nigga. So basically his siblings were gone. His dad left. It's him and his old ass mama.
True.
She's pretty good at like horse shit. Like
she was good at everything from what they say. The mom, from a little bit they spoke, because they did show her like running around with the horse and shit. And
right.
I guess just as a person, period, I guess she was a dope ass person. But without, and I think with any child, whether you're rich or poor or whatever, indifferent, when you don't have the normal social upbringing, like a lot of people, and when I say normal, I'm not talking about like public school and things like that. He's just not around other children.
Right.
had there been 10 other kids on that same fucking farm, at least you would have had somebody to grow up with that was in your same age range. And I think, with it just being him and mom, you suck at everything, but we got enough money to fucking rule the world, and this is why you're involved in everything. You know what I mean? And so, that shit will stunt you though. Not having people around, not having the social upbringing that most children are accustomed to, led to. I honestly think not only did it lead to a lot of his personal mental things and or mental issues or whatever, but I also think it led to why he got involved with monetarily supporting the sports world as big as he did.
Because it's like the old saying goes, can't beat them, fund them.
There you go. That nigga funded them, joined them, and
rig games to win them. Like, please stop. Like, okay, so basically that's what we're getting at. He had the funds to be involved with the sport in the only way that he could, which is financially. He funded training for lots of different sports, but he kind of like fell in love with wrestling, right?
Right.
I don't really know why he didn't really get into it because again, this is one of the things that he had tried and sucked really bad at. So like, we don't know why he chose this one. This is just the one that he chose.
Right.
His mom hated wrestling. And she was super against this. So this was very like, to him, I guess to the situation, very rebellious for him to devote so much time and effort and money into wrestling instead of like horses or whatever the fuck,
Right. Well, wrestling too was the sport that was deemed for the idiots, for people who couldn't think. You know what I mean? It was a lower class sport. In the late 70s, early 80s, it was not championed as much. So
to the more like sedity uppity folks.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Okay. So, that's pretty like basically all y'all really need to know as far as John DuPont's background. Feel free to, do whatever y'all want. Right. But, David Schultz, I put next to his name, mad skills. Like he was basically, like he was basically like one of the best like fucking wrestlers like on that level at that time as far as like Olympic in the world, right? Now at the time he was super good, but we weren't really winning the golds and things like that in that sport.
Yeah.
And then we got to kind of talk about why, right? Back then, Russia was like fucking top shotter, right? Like as far as like wrestling goes. They basically had that shit on lock. And the reason that they were able to was because Russia took that shit super serious and supported their athletes. So it was more of a career for people in Russia as opposed to a hobby or something that you do in the off season or whatever the fuck. Like,
for anybody who are currently in the sports, what I know what a lot of us, especially black people, what you can relate it to. Think about anybody you've known that's ran track in college.
Right.
If they don't make it to the Olympics or become some type of trainer after school, you go and get a regular job. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what the same thing with wrestling was.
Right.
Before Foxcatcher. Over in Europe, these guys literally got paid yearly to wrestle. That's all the fuck they did. So when
like that was
35, 40 years old, you're supporting your family off of still being a fucking,
Hey, Jeremy. Hey, Scoots.
You supporting your family off of being a dope ass wrestler, and from the beginning of the positivity in the documentary, the small piece of positivity in the documentary, this is where John DuPont actually helped increase American Olympics. I mean, if you think about it, like, look, we just said this. Mm-hmm. Fucking loonies fucking lend to the world. They make the world a better place. John DuPont, with his crazy ass, literally is the reason why Americans started getting golds in the fucking Olympics and wrestling.
He's literally the reason. He was literally the reason. Hey. Like, he was literally the reason. So we do have that to thank. And that's so fucking interesting that you said that, because I be going down fucking rabbit holes.
Right.
Oh shit. Okay, pause. Look, I gotta tell you how I got down this rabbit hole. So you guys know every fucking time we do a documentary, somebody reaches out to us, right?
Yeah.
This documentary, there is a person, hold on, I think is he from Iran? So immediately, guys, I thought this was a fucking African, like, prince, like, scam or some shit. I was about to, like, just super block him. Cause, like, I'm sorry. The fucking internet and fucking weird shit has fucking, I'm tainted, okay? So, underneath one of the promos for this week, a person comes underneath and says, hold on. I want to say his name is like Mehdi. So shout out to you, Mehdi, if you happen to be watching. But he asked me if I have a way to find a clip from 1985 with Dave Schultz and this wrestler, and he gives me his name, and then he goes, boom, I'm gonna DM you. So I was like, what? Like, and I was like, yo, what is happening right now?
Right.
So he DMs me, and I'm gonna show you. He DMs me this picture, and it's Dave and this man who's like his family member, and they are like about to like fucking start wrestling. Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm so excited, I'm like not going to it, but like, oh shit, wait, let's see. Okay, here it is. Let's see if I can show you guys.
Okay.
And you can see it's in a frame on a wall.
Right.
So now I know it's real, right?
Right.
So he's saying that Iran, that's where he's from, they don't have access to foreign archives. And so he was asking me if we could locate, asking the podcast, if we could locate a clip or something of this wrestling match.
Right.
I did try to Google it, but I didn't find anything.
Oh shit, we might have to hook Maddie up. We might have to get on.
I don't know, but he really, his name, the guy in the picture, his name is Ala Murad Zarini. Okay. And this is from the 1985 fucking, so listen, Twitter, do your job, nigga. Find a clip of this. That's fucking Dave, and that's fucking, I can't say his last first name again, so it's Zarini, that's him, right? That's him. That's Mehdi's family. That's Mehdi's family, and they don't, for some reason, they don't have the access to our shit. I mean, I guess that makes sense, like, kind of, because like we don't have access to all of it. No, you're right, because the internet's just like a thing. Like it's not like blocked off by borders and shit. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how does that work? I guess it's kind of like that thing to where, like, and very on the subject but off the subject. If like you start a Pornhub account, you can block it in certain states that you. So, like, you say you don't want nobody to know. Nobody
in Vegas can find this. Like, nobody in Vegas, nobody in Chicago, nobody in Minnesota, just to be safe. So yeah, I couldn't find it, but he definitely was like, thank you so much for even, like, considering to look and even, like, look at my message. And, like, if you ever do come across it, just let me know. Like, this is where you can reach me. And I was like, damn, bro, like, I almost, like, really wasn't fucking with you. I really thought she was a fucking, buy some followers ass nigga. You weren't. So shout out to you. So that's the person that I met during this podcast. So the reason I brought that up, sorry, because that was a whole fucking thing. Hold on, fuck. And guess what? I forgot. What? It was something about John. I forgot. It was something that I found out about him, but I forgot now. But anyway, that's the person that we met this time. So anyway, back to fucking John. He was a philanthropist. He loved giving his money away. He decided to pour as much as he could into wrestling.
Right.
The only stipulation though was is if I'm gonna fund this, I want to basically wait, what? Scoot said Iran YouTube is only HGTV and Food Network recipes. See, you feel me? I really almost was like block and delete, please. But shout out to Mehdi. So anyway, so the only stipulation was if I'm gonna fucking fund this, and guess Team USA was like, we need this money. So basically, whatever you're trying to say right now, obviously, like, we're down for it.
Right.
Maybe not the best idea. Or I'm not even gonna say that because it was the best idea at the time. It was a great idea at the time. They just had an opportunity to not fuck with that nigga, and they still fucked with that nigga. But
if they didn't fuck with him, they wasn't gonna get the money. He pretty much did the same thing that LeVar Ball did when LeVar Ball started his own fucking basketball league.
It's true.
Nobody knew where the fuck this money was coming from, but you paying niggas to live on this fucking farm where they know where the DuPont money coming from. Hey, shout out to all the pumpkin spice. Anyhow.
So the stipulation was, if I'm going to give you guys this money, if I'm going to fund this, you basically have to come and fucking live with me.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to put that up again. Fucking LeVar Ball.
I think it was a thing of, because like they were saying, the reason that Russia kept winning every year.
Yeah.
The reason Russia kept winning every year was because you have these men. In America, you got dudes that are 23, 24, 25, and in their prime, they have to stop wrestling because you have to get a real job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, y'all gonna stop hating on the pumpkin.
I like pumpkin spice brittle. Like pumpkin brittle. Like, I don't know if that's too white. It's so
way
good.
More white than I was expecting. But
okay. Listen, it had the potential to be a cult. If niggas fucked with him like that.
Exactly. And we're gonna get to that.
You were gonna get to that, Jeremy.
Because now when it started, it was a beautiful idea. It was more because now if we travel back, and again I'm a little bit older, but if we look at like growing up in the 80s and the early 90s, well we'll just get to the 80s when this was big. That type of thing was not abnormal. If you had money and you could figure out how to help, because think about it, back in the day, the only three things motherfuckers ever gave a fuck about was the military, the Olympics, and fucking education. And America just so happened to be top in all of that shit. And when Russia
not
was
at
only
the Uggs to the pumpkin spice. She said,
"Oh wow!"
To the pumpkin spice.
Right. When Russia was beating us, and they're finding out that these men that are 23, 24, 25 are now continuing to wrestle until their 30s. But they're being trained. This is their life every day. So when he steps in and you know, for all of y'all who know who the DuPont family is and where they come from and all of that, the money is long. And so he stepped in the USA Wrestling Federation or Olympic Federation or however you got tied to the USA side, whatever they're
Team USA. That's what that's who he was funding. He was funding Team USA basically.
Exactly. To the point where he had so much money that he convinced a Bulgarian wrestler to quit his fucking country's team and come wrestle for Team Foxcatcher so he could end up being an American wrestler as well. This is when the tide changed for American wrestling as far as an Olympic sport.
Very, very true, because now these the wrestling
DuPonts.
Yes.
DuPont, you thinking about, my nigga. Yes.
Those is the ones. Yep, that's the ones. So, but yeah, so like I said, the only stipulation to this is that if you're going to be using my money for this funding, all of the wrestlers have to live on my compound.
Right.
So it was the farm.
Starts though.
Listen, Jeremy, you are not off when you say that it sounds like a cult, because it could have been a cult if niggas fucked with him, and we're gonna get to it. Right. So the farm, that's what they called it, right? At this point of the documentary, I mean, we'll get more into the farm and shit, I think, in a little bit. Mm-hmm. But this is kind of where we get the first interview of John.
Yeah.
And immediately he's weird, my guy. Like,
yeah. I was about to try to give some type of, but no, yeah, that nigga was weird as fuck on top.
Like, and it wasn't even just the things that he was saying. It was like
his mannerisms, his actions.
Yeah, like I don't even know how to explain it.
It's like, for anybody that's watching, especially if anybody that's ever played basketball, you ever been in the hood playing ball at somebody's house, and they might be the rich nigga on the block, so they got the actual like court in their backyard, but they suck at playing basketball, so they're like, nah, you niggas can't use my court no more. That was DuPont. And
it's like, but y'all need to use his court so y'all can really work on y'all shit. Like,
this nigga got the real shit. The court over the street at the school. The rim broke, and it's a fucking.
The rim broke. If we play in the alley, like I don't really know how far, like is the end of the court. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the goal line really the right rim.
Like, is this where the goal line would be? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's really hard to tell that. So you definitely need
milk crate. Is it the same?
And it was just like that. DuPont is the nigga that has the basketball and the basketball court. And you don't really fuck with him, but you need that basketball and that basketball court. Like,
real shit. And it was like the way that everybody was explaining it, because I think Calabrese, that is his last name. He was the first one to get close when everybody started coming, because they said once John opened this up to everybody, it was like one person at a time. And he literally was doing it like a motherfucking sports agent signing a roster. You know, calling them up, hey, I got this dough. I got this
he was basically downing niggas with Rockefeller chains. Like, that's how he was like, that's how you got chose. Like, you just was like, like, do you got love for flavor? Like, it's very much like
exactly what this was. To the point to where, because this nigga, the funny part is, when Robbie says when he came, he was all for it because he was a kid and he's like, shit, I really ain't got shit else to do. But he said when he told him, yo, I'm gonna get Dave Schultz, he was like, what the fuck ever. Like, he dismissed it, like, dude, yeah, I get that you got money, but Dave Schultz is that nigga. Dave Schultz.
How you gonna get Dave Schultz,
bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, and so
that's interesting that you bring that up. And again, how I told you how it's a little different in the movie, and now Robbie not believing him makes even more sense, because right before that, is it Mike? Mark. I want to say it's Mike. Mark. He fucking had left. So it was like, it probably looked really not likely that he was gonna get Dave, because his brother had just bounced on him.
Exactly.
And everybody was relying on Mark to bring Dave to Team Foxcatcher. So now that you say that makes so much motherfucking sense that Robbie would be like, how are you gonna get him? Like, you just lost your one ticket of how to get him.
Right. I think always Robbie was like, bitch, I'm that nigga.
Dave's like, I'm all you got, nigga.
Right.
So, okay, so here's an example of how weird John gets, right? He got a brand new Lincoln. And so, hold on, back up. Guys, when we tell y'all this compound is large, it's large enough to have multiple houses on it.
Like, every wrestler had their own house with
their own house.
I think what's the name had his own house, Valo, but he ended up living with Dave just because they were so close.
You talking about Valentino?
Yeah, I think he had his own house, but him and his family and
Dave got close.
In the same house just because they became best friends or whatever.
Yeah,
but every wrestler on the team had their own house.
He took his stinking Lincoln. And he so basically I'm trying to explain how big it is. So it's big as fuck. Everybody got their own houses. Then you got the training facilities. Then you got his big ass house. Then you got a pond. Then you got a pond. Like, it's some shit, right? So this nigga is driving on the compound in his Lincoln, just driving like a fucking bat out of hell. And then on purpose, right into the pond. Just takes that Lincoln and just drives right into the water.
Before you say on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Let's just say because I know what you're about to go to next. So let's just say that time, we didn't know it was on purpose.
Okay, you're right. Maybe he dropped his fucking he dropped his fucking cigarette, and then he was in the pond, right? So maybe
he dropped his edition of Flavor magazine down on
his fucking copy of Big Booty Hoes, like monthly, like so.
That's the Jet Beauty
How looking at the Jet Beauty? Okay, so listen. So okay, fine. He gets in the fucking pond. They were like, okay, bro. Well, here's a loaner until we can like figure out what to do with your wet ass car, and then he invites somebody to get in the car with him.
He invited the head of, we'll just say Team USA again. I know it was somebody with the USA Olympic team. He put them niggas in the backseat of his car. And this is when we find out that the first time was definitely on purpose, because he drove that second car with them niggas in the back into the pond.
A loaner. Let's run it back. A loaner car. 2 high-power executives in the back seat and you drove it into the pond again. Just and said what? Watch this, or
pretty much.
Like he didn't say like, yo, like hold your breath. Like he just fucking shit.
Now you want to know what's crazy though? Is if we think about it, especially when we saw what happened moving forward into the documentary. This now that we've watched it all and we're sitting here talking about it, if you think about it, this is a turning point. Because at this point,
it is.
Motherfucker should have said, hey, fuck his money, let's be out. But because you didn't say fuck his money, let's be out, he now has an entitlement feeling of he had already felt
who gonna check me, boo?
He had already felt like nobody gave him fuck. Trying to make the niggas a swim team.
Nigga, really? Like
exactly.
He didn't warn nobody. They thought they was about to get a tour of the land, nigga, not the fucking ponds. Like, oh Jesus! But you're right. This is definitely a turning point.
Because everybody could have pulled out then, and it's one of those things to where now you got people who are like, nah, maybe it was a mistake. And then let's just say 30. Let's break down 100% into three different realms. We got 33% of people that probably was like it was a mistake. Another 33 that's like, yo, John might be going through something, but I fuck with him. And then another 33 was like I gotta get this back. Fuck it.
I'm really trying to get that chain, my nigga. I'm really trying to get that. Really trying to get that fucking pendant. That fucking pendant. You know really trying to get that pendant, G. Like a lot of. I'm gonna fuck around and say it was like 45% of the niggas there that was like, I'm really just here for the gold.
Niggas was like, you fuck with John DuPont? Who the fuck is that? Nigga,
I'm just trying to get this fucking
chain on, nigga. We out here.
Taking my Michael Phelps on, nigga.
No,
like, okay. So Dave comes.
Right. He gets Dave on the phone, invites Dave in. Dave and his family move to the farm.
Yes. When Dave gets there, remember, guys, prior to Dave getting there, this nigga drove into a pond twice, okay? Dave comes and actually somehow levels this guy down. Like, he kind of brings him down to, like, reality a little bit.
Just a little
or
bit.
Or at least it seems that way, where John starts to feel, like, super connected to him, like family. Because, like I said, when we talked about it earlier, they don't really... He's really socially awkward. His siblings are way older. Father left. Him and his old mama. And his mama really is not interested in the things that he's interested in. So that puts a strain on their relationship that was already probably weird and awkward.
Because and you got to think too. I think he was so. Dave leveled him out because it's like right now. If we got off if we start recording and then I call you on the phone like sit, fucking. The Lakers signed me, nigga, and somehow I'm managing LeBron now. Nigga, what? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you feel like, all right, bet, let me get my shit together. He literally got the best American wrestler in the fucking world. Right. Off a phone call, or at least how they play it in the documentary. Called him on the phone, and dude came through. So,
I mean...
Which I'm sure his brother probably has something to do
with. I was going to say, when you think about how the movie portrayed it, and like I said, it's not, the movie is more fictitious than the documentary is obviously not. But the way the movie played it was as if Mark was trying to actively get Dave to come, and Dave kind of was still really standoffish. And as the more and more that Dave was reluctant to come, it strained the relationship between Mark and John. So John was like, oh, you don't really fuck with me. If you can't get your brother here, you don't really fuck with me. Like, what are you even doing here? Like, you're not even that good. Like, your brother's better than you, and you can't even convince your own brother to come here and help you. Like, that's basically how the movie had John treating Mark, which is kind of the reason, the true reason of why Mark ended up leaving Foxcatcher, because he just felt like he was undervalued there. And a lot of it, I'm sure, had to do with the fact of him always comparing him to Dave and talking down to him because he wanted Dave there instead of him in reality.
Right. And also, for everybody that's watching who has not watched the documentary, I need y'all to know it's literally an 8-year period, 1988 to 1996.
Yeah.
So when you look at all of this shit that we're gonna talk about that happened, it's such a, I'll say for all of the shit that happened, that's a very short time for this shit to happen.
It
in the
is.
way that it did.
It is.
Dave comes right after Dave came. I think that's when Valentino came. And so
But
Dave was
before Valentino came, sorry, important to just mention that John's mom died.
But did she die? I thought she died after Valentino came. Was it before? It was definitely around.
I think so.
It was close for sure.
Yeah, it was very close, but I think it happened before. Like again, yeah, it had to have happened before. Because again, this is like something that's like really fueling the relationship between Dave and John. Just closeness, somebody to be able to confide in. Because like we said, right. 45% of these niggas is here for the fucking jewelry. Right. Like they're not here for this man who's clearly looking for something. Looking for something, right? So we're talking about so close that the Schultzes were spending the holidays at John's house. Yeah. So coming to the holidays, and John was like so into like that situation that he was like coming and making sure like, hey, I don't have a high chair for the kids. Make sure y'all bring a high chair up. He had presents for the kids, things that he didn't have to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, like just really.
The Schultzes, I want y'all to repeat what she said. Again, my name, everybody he employs lives on this fucking big, fucking gorgeous ass farm. Right. Their family is the only family that's at the fucking mansion.
The only ones. With this man. The only ones. That's like to get to really give you guys a understanding of like how close these niggas got at that point, right? Yeah. Right. Let's see.
Because it makes sense that you say that his mother died before Valentino got there, because one thing that they mentioned in the documentary, Dave loved Russia. Even before he came over to DuPont and got all the money, he was back and forth in Russia. He learned how to speak Russian because he wanted to know what the fucking Russian coaches were telling their wrestlers, because he couldn't understand why America was losing every single fucking 4 years. And so him getting so engulfed into the Russian culture and the community, when John decided to ask Valentino to come over, and Valentino left Bulgaria to come through, the Russian that Dave, the life that Dave is now involved in, made him and Valentino so close. The reason I want to bring this up is because just how Chris stated that, Mark, you can't even get your own brother here. And again, John signing Dave was a big thing. John signing Valentino, it might have not been as big, but it was fucking
But it was
close.
Big. It was big.
And so when he brought these people through, you don't have a normal upbringing. You don't really know your siblings. You had to fucking schedule time with your dad. So you didn't have anything normal. The connections aren't there. Your mom's dead now, and the connections that you want, the way the documentary plays it out is literally the two connections he wanted most was Dave and Valentino. But he wanted them to be friends with him, not the other way around. Not them being as close as they became.
Yes. So let's pull it back just a little. So something else besides funding the fucking team, besides letting these niggas live there, some of them were also getting paid for stuff, right? Dave was getting paid to coach John in wrestling. Remember how we said that nigga was very bad at this shit? One thing that we definitely forgot to tell y'all was that he's old as fuck.
I think at this point he's already in his 50s.
He's old as fuck. In wrestling life, in wrestling world, Dave was getting old. Dave was like 33, 34. He was getting old in wrestling. Like he was considered the old man.
Right.
Like in wrestling. And so we're talking about John wanting to be taught how to wrestle. And he's like 50.
And he's getting into these tournaments now.
But is he getting into these tournaments? Because
well, remember the original ones that he was getting his ass kicked in. Yes, he was going to the same tournaments that his team.
Oh yeah, you're right.
His team is kicking ass, and then he gets in, and they're like, "Yo, who the fuck let this guy in the door?"
So guess what he did, because he got tired of doing that. He created his own wrestling group, basically where it was old niggas only.
Yep.
and Dave was his coach. And the way that these niggas were gingerly fighting. Right. I mean, not fighting, but gingerly wrestling.
The funny part about it, though, like Chris said, all of these men were old. Well, let's go back to something we stated in the beginning. The European bloc in Russia, literally these motherfuckers were fucking
they do this
in their 30s and 40s because it was their life. They literally got paid to do nothing else. You get out of high school, bitch, you're going to wrestle till you 40. We're going to pay
you. Till you die.
So these 50-year-old niggas that's coming into the ring with John DuPont, they
can still wrestle. And remember, yes, the Geriatric Wrestling Federation. Exactly. That is it. So
they locked up the nigga and just wrestled, just rolled on the ground like
nigga. But so then, with the information that we just told y'all, how is it that John is winning these tournaments? If he's already bad, he was never good, and he's going against older people from societies that fucking wrestle, okay? How is John winning? I'm gonna tell you. Dave was fixing them. Dave was using the money that John was paying him because basically they had everything they needed. Yeah. So the money that he was paying him to coach him, he was giving to the other wrestlers to throw the wrestling match because he literally didn't want to hit his nigga's mouth when they went home.
Right.
If he lost.
Because he was complaining. He didn't like the fact that his team was amazing, yet he sucked. He couldn't just be the owner. He couldn't just be a coach. He had to be on a fucking team. And the sad part about it is he only wanted to be on the team because, again, Valentino and Dave are friends now. I think had that relationship never formed, that dude, I mean, as much because like Robbie said it's one thing for anybody that's played sports, we've all had that coach that wanted to play ball against us, that threw passes with us, tried to tackle you, whatever. But they knew they weren't on the level with you, right? He wanted to be on that level. He felt like, I'm John DuPont, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And it really didn't. It didn't work that way. So again, this federation is formed. Like she said, Dave is taking the money he getting paid and paying these old ass Russians to be like, hey, bro,
just lay down, nigga.
But my
so they did that.
Shaking hands and
nigga, like flexing on niggas, like, bro, you didn't win.
Arms out like this, when they had his arms stretched out and they shaking him, and he had the fucking flab going.
He had
these niggas is cut the fuck up.
Nigga, that old ass nigga was buff as shit. John just listen. So speaking of wanting to belong, right, with John, something else that he opened up his world to was hunting. And the thing is that he wasn't just like opening up hunting to the niggas already on the compound. He was basically inviting all of the cops in town. Like they fucking, I feel like a lot of them illegally got their fucking license. That's not my business. But everybody had they fucking license, and they would go to his farm and hunt. Yep. They would also use that as a location for firearm training for the police department. I need y'all to really take that in and let it absorb into your head and remember that I told y'all that, okay? Because then it's going to make sense later and why niggas are moving the way that they were moving.
They move, yeah. Like,
okay.
Like when I seen this part, I literally was like, yo, what the fuck are we talking about?
Like what?
Like the one
is this a thing? Can you do this? I think you can do this.
Dick Fairlane, I almost understood his position. I'm like, shit, if I was the chief of police and this rich ass nigga gonna let me control the hunting on his grounds, I'm gonna take that bread too. But then everybody came. I said, oh yeah, like it was. So we from the Midwest. Shout out to V. Yep. She is too. We're kind of accustomed to a certain way that dope boys move. This is the exact. If you've never known a dope nigga, this is exactly what dope boys do when they get enough money. When people say that they buy the police, you really don't buy the police. You just give the police shit that they not getting from the fucking police.
From the fucking police. Nigga.
That's what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, outside target practice, hunting, fucking.
He was a reserve officer. He got he got $1 a year to be a reserve officer. So again, guys, I keep it right here. Keep that right here. So also speaking of hunting, other things he liked to do outside of the Lincoln, he also liked to shoot outside of the window and hunting from his car, which is illegal no matter who's on grounds with you. Right. It's not, you can't just be shooting out of a car. And interesting that he did that. So, okay. So right, Valentine, right? Here's the interesting part about Valentine. So you're right. With both Dave and Valentine, like he wanted to be their only friend somehow. And in this sea of people and people that are like logistically more important to them, like he wanted himself to be at the top of their friend pyramid. And like Penrose said, they related to each other so much with the love of the sport. And then with Dave, again, having that like heightened like understanding of the way that they do things over there because they take that shit so seriously. And they really got close. So John would do things to try to feel closer or appear closer to them. And at this point, he's like, basically to me, he's obsessed like Mariah Carey style with Valentine. He's Bulgarian, right? Valentine's Bulgarian. Yeah, he's Bulgarian. And so John just wakes up one day and he decides he's Bulgarian now. Like with the name DuPont and everything that people know about the history of that family, he just woke up on a Thursday and was just like, I'm Bulgarian now. So that's the thing. He started wearing Bulgarian flags, just doing the most. Okay, it's kind of like when Drake starts hanging out with all of his friends that are Jamaican in Canada, and then he started like bumper clotting and like guan and all that shit like that. When he started, that's basically what happened with Valentine and John. He basically became Drake and started like having a Bulgarian accent and wearing. Dude,
listen. So on the subject, but off the subject, right?
Yeah. I
used to manage a bar, and this nigga used to come in the same Balenciaga fucking long coat every fucking weekend. Mm-hmm. I can't afford Balenciaga, but what I can afford, I don't wear the same shit of it every weekend. When this nigga decided to say he was Bulgarian, that nigga wore that Bulgarian tracksuit.
Nigga, like that Balenciaga jacket. Listen, he really did. Like, he fucking forsaken any other heritage that he had. And all of a sudden, he was Bulgarian. And nobody could ever prove that he was actually Bulgarian.
Nobody.
He wasn't.
He said it was his roots. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I'm not about to sit up here and like go through a history lesson. But as far as I know, what the fuck does Bulgaria have to do with France?
It don't. Like, I don't think. Like, prove me wrong, but I don't think it does. So he's doing that. Again, these are signs that people could have taken,
right,
and really been like, "What is wrong here?"
I think people did take the signs, but I think it's just like anything, man. At some point, at this point in the documentary, and to be honest about it, I know we only 40-something minutes in, but honestly, where we're at in the documentary right now, if you guys watch this, you literally are now at a point to where you can tell that everybody that's intimately involved, you can really see the people really saying to themselves, shit, do I really want to give up all this fucking money? That's really what this was. This is like one of the guys said, he said, yo, we literally were doing things on that farm that you just don't do as a normal human being. You know what I mean? Like the way they
the things that he was like exposing them to.
Yeah.
And just all of that. Like, and then the fact that they were that in a country that never before this, they were actually able to make a living. Like, they can sustain their families. They don't have to they can give their 100% devotion to the thing that they love. Exactly. That's really what it was. Exactly. That's really what it was.
Yeah. And it's like, even with the cops coming on and to the point to where, okay, so we talked about Robbie, we talked about Dave. There was one other person that was really, really close. This guy.
You talking about Chad or Chade?
Dan.
Is it Chade?
In the U-Haul?
Dan Che. That's his last name because they was calling him Che. Yeah, Dan. Oh yeah, Dan. Dan the whole time. When we see a lot of the home footage and home videos of throughout this documentary, Dan is behind the camera. So right. I know this is the first time that y'all heard his voice. I mean his name, but it's important to know that he is clearly a nice chunk, a very important piece to this puzzle as well here. Clearly not as John didn't obsess over him the way that he did the other two, but I think that Dan was a very important person on that farm.
But Dan was remember now, Valentino was important to him, but they say the three people that ended up being the ones that could, like you said about Dave leveling him out, it was Robbie, then it was Dave, then it was Dan, and it was Dan. Mm-hmm. And so Dan, at this time, the cops are always there. You are now okay. So we have to bring. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I just want to make sure we're not gonna miss nothing.
No, for sure. I want to not go back to the relationship with Valentino and Dave. The only reason I bring it up again is because at this point, DuPont is now becoming extremely fucking paranoid. Paranoid to the point to where you go and you look at somebody's upbringing and you realize that a lot of the shit that people go through as children affect them as adults, right? So mentally now. Remember, he bought Robbie that fucking canoe fucking with the motor on it and all that shit. And now, as pretty as this motherfucker is, he's literally waking up. And Robbie, when they interview Robbie at this point.
Wait. Yes. That's a super yes. But just hold on a second.
Okay. All right.
So, paranoia, right? So, again, we have all of these things, and now this man is getting increasingly paranoid. And really, the base of it is just because the two people that he wants to be up his ass is not up his ass, they're up each other's ass because they have so many more things in common than they do with you. That's really what it boils down to.
Yep.
So he starts to become super jealous, and just everything was disgruntled. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everything that he did. He started telling people that there were tunnels, and people in the walls. And then at some point he just started to say that it was Dave.
Dave was using tunnels to get in and out of his mansion. Dave was in his walls. Dave was
not like in each other's ass. Like I mean like super enthralled with each other's lives, like super involved and connected and like super close. Not Sandusky. So it goes from being paranoid to putting a face to this paranoia, even though he has no fucking grounds, no fucking basis for this.
Remember, I wanted to just bring up beat herself with them fucking nickels and oranges or whatever it is when Martin didn't like her. This is when John broke. For everybody who's seen Thin Line, this literally is the equivalent. When this nigga John broke, it was like that. It was like, oh, y'all fuck with each other, but y'all don't fuck with me. And then all of a sudden,
I swear,
I don't fuck with him no more. He's letting people know, or at least the paranoia is being seen. And it's like, and we don't have to stick on the Dan thing, but I just want to make this one point.
Oh yeah, no, there's hella Dan shit.
There's hella Dan shit, right? Like when DuPont, again, as his paranoia increases, things begin to go fucking drastic. You have the FBI on the farm as your fucking guards now.
Right, I was gonna say he hires security to protect him from the wrestlers. All of a sudden,
from the people he employs, and then now we'll get to that part. But you're hiring the FBI. The wrestlers who you say you love, you now are afraid of them for some reason.
Right.
And he tells Dan just out of nowhere to leave. Right. So Dan's like, whatever, bro.
Wait.
Okay, go ahead. What am I missing?
Okay, so
go.
No. You're not missing. Well, a little bit. Like you're missing a couple things.
Because I was like that. To the black. You trying to get to the black thing first?
Because that's how I have it. Like I
thought that was after. No, you're right.
No.
Nope. You're right.
Okay, so tunnels, blah blah. He's fucking losing his mind. So he hires these like ex-FBI, ex-CIA guys to be his security. They are literally on the fucking shit, like the whole fucking compound, everywhere. I also just wanted to make a point. Remember how we were saying how a certain amount of people just were there for the fucking jewelry and niggas weren't really paying attention. When you're watching this documentary, you can see the regret in a lot of these people's faces because these were things that they remember vividly, and looking back, now that everything's transpired, it was a sign for them to either get the fuck or to tell somebody.
Yeah,
and instead of doing that, they were laughing. Nobody's in your walls, bruh. Nobody's in your walls. Ha, you're fucking crazy. And that's how they played it until it was too late. So he hires a security, and the security isn't saying, hey, you're crazy. They're saying, is there people in your wall? Let's bust your wall down and prove that there's nobody in there. What?
Let's dig this whole motherfucking ground up to prove it ain't no tunnels there.
And now you don't believe that, so now I'm gonna hire some scientists to come in here and tell you there ain't nobody in here. Like the lengths that they went, and the guy that was explaining it, he was trying to say that he was doing that to decrease the paranoia, but for me that only increased it, because you're basically telling this rich ass man that you will go to any length that I need you to prove a point or to fucking rest my mind, right? Like you will go to the ends of earth. You will spend all the money I give to you to do this for me. Like, so that really, you really weren't getting rid of the paranoia.
Yeah, but he pretty much admitted to us in so many words in a roundabout way
that he was.
I'm doing this for the dough. It's not my job to make.
That's what he said.
Better about.
That's what he said.
There's somebody in your walls or not. It's my job to prove scientifically that
there's nobody in your walls.
So the only way I can do that is if you pay me all this fucking dough, so I can motherfucking make it happen.
So I can go get a nigga with a caterpillar, like. So again, he's being erratic as fuck. The security guards, regardless of what anybody thinks, they're not helping. He wakes up one day and says, the color black is very it's very dreadful. I don't like it. He makes people get rid of, you can't have a shirt on any black shirts, no black cars, no black horses. All these things are
black car, I think. And he had to get rid of it.
He definitely bought Robbie that black car. We will totally get into that in like 2 seconds. Don't even trip. So he's like, the color black is just not doing it for me. I need everything black up out of here. And you.
He got rid of the four
top
wrestlers in the fucking world.
There were 4 black wrestlers on Team Foxcatcher. Not only were they black wrestlers, they had already had golds and silver medals already. These niggas had already been to the Olympics, had already brought fucking gold home.
Already, I think he was a two-time world champion. One-time Olympic champion. Yeah.
Kevin was, yes. Okay. Yep. Okay. So listen. Yo, what can we send Scoots for fucking being right? Listen.
Right. He's getting it on top, yo. Scoots getting it on top. Did this nigga read our notes?
Nigga, he needs I don't know what he needs. He needs something like.
Because yo, what we find out next is
it's cocaine.
They go back to interviewing Robbie. Well, they're interviewing Kevin Johnson, and he says that he's talking, and they're like, yo, they want to get rid of everything black. And the guy says to him, that's including you. And so when he says this to him, they talk about, all of the blacks that got fired off the team, and nobody's nobody's saying anything about it. Now, mind you, it still is the 80s. It's still racism, this, that, and the third. But if anybody was alive in the 80s, I'm going to be real. Racism never went anywhere. But if you want to talk about the most low-key, mellow racism in the whole history of the world, it was the fucking 80s. So for black people to be at the height of a sport, and then you get shitted on just simply because of me. And he was like, no, I'm not racist. I just don't like
I can't have the color black around me right now.
Exactly. And so they go and they interview the dude Robbie again, and he says it. Well, the guy who was digging up his ground, the scientist or cop or whatever, and then Robbie, the guy says, yo,
this is when
Hunt was doing things, and I think that it was because what's the word? How did he say it? It wasn't chemical imbalance. It was chemically started or some shit like that. And then
chemically motivated is what he said, I think.
And then they go to Robbie, and you hear Robbie's voice, and he's just like, yeah,
We knew he was doing coke.
At 11 at night, he was just up and he's
Nigga.
walking around.
Nigga just pacing the house. So when he went on his anti-black thing, again, guys, there was another opportunity, a very wide open door for niggas to say, we're not fucking with you. Yep. That was another opportunity for Team USA to say we're not fucking with you and we don't need your money.
Yep.
It was an opportunity for the people that were on that compound to say, these motherfuckers are my friends. I train with them. So I've some of them have went to the Olympics with them. Like, these are my people, and I'm not fucking with you.
Because I trusted
because I trusted you with their career.
Yep.
And there was an opportunity for niggas to step away, and they chose not to.
Right. The money. That money kept them dealing, and they kind of said it too, because remember now that we're at to the black thing. This goes to the part to where once he went through his cold crazy shit about black, he then wanted Dan to leave. And Dan was like, man, this dude just tripping, whatever, I ain't going nowhere. He tells Dan to leave, Dan won't go anywhere. And he brings a U-Haul and parks it in front of his house.
We forget about the gun. He comes with the gun first.
The U-Haul is before the gun.
Oh, okay.
He drops the U-Haul off. Dan won't leave. Dan is still like, man, fuck what this dude's talking about. We getting money. We this, that, and the third. Dan is in the fucking gym pumping iron. And John DuPont walks in and puts a fucking gun to his chest and tells him, pretty much, bitch, nigga, you got to get the fuck up out of here. Dan calls the police, and the police say, shit, that's
he be tripping. He be tripping.
You tripping. Yeah. He wasn't going to kill you.
Right. You know he be waving guns all the time, nigga. Like... Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like for all you niggas who done got smacked by your baby mama a bunch of times, and then you go tell your man, and he like, nigga, you know that's your baby mama. Like,
you know she gonna slap you.
You know what I'm saying? But this man literally, it's a thing of, it's sad to a degree because everybody that was there, for all of y'all that have watched the documentary or have watched it, you can see, like Chris said, there was regret in their face because they knew while interviewing, I felt like they flashed back to the 80s and they knew in their hearts in that time, like, yo.
As they were talking about that shit. As they were talking about that shit, we were still there. We laughed at that shit.
Yeah. And they didn't leave because, fuck, dude, I just came from being a $20,000 a year cop. Now my fucking wife is, you know what I mean? I'm making enough money to take care of everybody. I just came from being a wrestler who was just only fucking good enough to do this through college. Now all of a sudden I can wrestle into my 40s in the fucking Olympics. When money changes your circumstance and you're a positive person and use that money, it's just like any of us right now. I was talking to my grandmother the other day. I literally hate my fucking boss. But the money I make, nigga, I'm not going nowhere. But you know what I mean? And so I say that to say it's kind of the same thing with them. DuPont started off cool. Paranoia came along, this, that, and the third. But when the money's good, you know what I mean? There's not too many people that's really going to walk away, especially if they're not being affected. And it was a trickle-down effect because the thing happened with the color black, which really was not about the black wrestlers, and then it became about the black wrestlers. Then the boat. Dan.
Well, no, the boat. Yeah. So let's talk about that. Remember how Robbie and them was saying how this nigga just be up at 4 o'clock in the morning just walking around? There's a video, and he's showing a film of a boat that he bought for one of them. It's super clean. Yeah. It's super clean.
Yep.
It is so clean. It is like shining. You could probably go like this and like it's like that's how clean it was.
That shit was beautiful.
It was fucking clean. He starts to zoom in and he's mumbling things about bugs and how bugs are leaving slime. And that's why it's so shiny, because bugs are like sliming all over it. Like, there's no bugs, y'all.
Right.
It's literally, he's just zooming in and freaking himself out at the wood grain.
And something we forgot, kind of, sort of, but not really.
What?
Bringing up him talking about the bugs. Right before that, or maybe 10 minutes in the documentary before that, maybe 20, they were talking about how he literally would set up cameras to face the woods.
Oh,
and
yes.
He would film the woods for hours, then watch this film for hours.
Then call you and make you watch it. And here's another thing, another opportunity where niggas should have been like, motherfucker, you're crazy. And instead, niggas was either like, depending on how they felt that day, was either like, oh yeah, I see it, or nah, I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
he was telling people it was things in the woods. He would
and they're feeding into that
shit. People like, yo, those aren't real deer. Those are humans dressed as deer.
Deer. He said that his dad had fake trees in the fucking on the fucking compound that he had set up years ago. It ain't no fucking fake tree. It was a real ass trees all around.
Yeah, and I think it's, you know, not to compare him to anybody, but like for a lot of us, the easiest thing to bring in as a congruent is when Kanye lost his mama. We also were having a Kanye after that.
Yeah,
this is the same thing. As soon as John DuPont was already crazy, the moment that man lost his mama, oh baby,
everything kind of went down.
Everything, the wheels came.
And then he didn't trust nobody. He stopped trusting people. Everything looked shady and suspicious. So, the Dan Chade thing. He fucking brings the U-Haul. He doesn't leave. It sits there for a couple of days. He does the gun thing. Dan goes to the cops. They don't do nothing. The next day, Dan goes outside and the house. So the way that the U-Haul is set up, here's his house, the U-Haul, and then there's another house right here. And he goes around to the other side of the U-Haul and the entire house is burned down. Not burned down, but basically gutted.
That bitch is done though. Yeah. It's burnt all the way to fuck
burnt
up.
All the way down, basically. It's like it's just a frame at that point.
Now, mind you, I'm not saying he tried to do this or not, but if anybody knows anything about house fires usually jump to another house.
And it's trees.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. This is a beautiful, fucking lush, green ass place. There's vegetation everywhere.
It's very clear that he was trying to burn him alive, nigga. Like, I don't care what nobody say.
The house on fire, hoping that it
would jump over.
Save that nigga's life.
It literally did.
Right in front of his house. I honestly believe that shit not necessarily blocked the flames, but you know how wind travels and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
It actually, you know, kept the house from catching on fire.
I do not disagree. So obviously, when you burn a nigga house down next to me, I'm gonna leave. So he packed up the fucking moving van and he took the U-Haul.
Right.
Now he had another van. It was his personal van.
Yep.
He left it. And he pulled it to Dave's house.
Yep.
And guys, this is where it really goes into the fucking toilet.
Now,
this is where it goes to the toilet.
Before she gets into what she wants, what she's about to say, I need y'all to understand that at this point, when Dan told his story, Team USA is involved again. The cops are involved. Like, people are really paying attention. But I need y'all to, if you don't believe us, go back and look for your fucking self. David Schultz literally was the best fucking American wrestler in the fucking world. So when they came and talked to him, he said, yo, I live there with my children. Now, mind you, DuPont has accused this man of invading his home. He's accused this man of being in his walls. He hates the fact that he brought the Bulgarian guy in and Dave is his best friend. But Dave the entire time is the only motherfucker
that's fucking with John.
DuPont cool, bruh. That's my dude. I you know, he might be going through something, but
that's my guy.
For him, he's gonna be okay.
Mm-hmm. So perfect that you said that, because now we're gonna get into John not really loving that Dan's van is in front of Dave's house. Exactly. So John gets super fucked up. Probably coke and some other things. And he went over to Dave's house with the shotgun.
Yep.
Dave and his family are sitting down eating. And so he gets up to the door and he opens the door and he sees a shotgun. He's like, my guy, like, niggas is eating SpaghettiOs. Like, let me get that up off of you. Like let me take that. Let me hold that for you. Right. So There's no struggle at this point. John is so fucked up, he just hands it over to him. Right. Now, he obviously came with the shotgun looking for Dan, thinking that Dan was there because his van is parked outside. Dan's gone as fuck. Dave asks for the gun. John hands it to him. At some point in this interaction, or even after the gun was removed from his hand to Dave's hand, he fell because he's so fucked up. He hit his head. The wife calls the doctor. They get him stitched up. They take him back to his house. Mm-hmm. This is why I don't fuck with Robbie. The next day, when John wakes up and he goes to Robbie and he doesn't know what happened to him, mm-hmm. Robbie says, "It looks like you got hit with a bat."
Ah, true. He did say that. He did.
Robbie should have not fucking said that. Right. Because, and I don't care, like, and I watched the documentary a couple of times, and I wholeheartedly wonder if Robbie would have never said that. Would he have gone over there?
Yeah, things would have went totally different because at this point, paranoia set in, and so, well, and we'll just keep with it. Robbie says it looks like you got hit by a bat, and
John obviously just immediately believed him,
and he immediately starts formulating this story
that Dan beat him up.
And
Dan was not there.
Dan was nowhere.
I need to keep fucking telling y'all that. Dan was not there.
Right.
Dave was there. He had a shotgun. Dave took the shotgun. He fell hit his head on the windowsill. The wife called the doctor. The doctor came to Dave's house, sewed him up at Dave's house, and then they took him home.
Now, mind you, though, Robbie said it looks like you got hit by a bat. Robbie never said a name. He never said Dan did it.
But
Dan
he also didn't know what the fuck happened.
True. No, I know. Right.
But I hear you. I hear you.
I just want to put into the watcher and the listener's ear that when he told him that, he shouldn't have said that. I agree. But he never.
But he didn't say who.
And I think because I'm pretty sure John probably remembers, hey, he was at Dave's house, whatever. But I'm looking for Dan. So he told the cops, he told everybody that Dan beat him up.
He didn't like that the police didn't spring into action.
Boom. Now let's go back to when Dan cried and the police didn't spring into action. Mm-hmm. When John cried, the police did not spring into action. It's two different reasons. For one, for Dan, they didn't spring into action because they're like, yo, this nigga's payrolling us.
Right.
When John said it, they already knew, like, man, you crazy. You've been crazy for the last couple of years, bro. Like, fuck it, we're just gonna keep getting this cash. They already knew Dan was going. They knew there was no possibility that Dan had anything to do with anything. And when they talked to Dave and his wife, and they told the story about what really happened, the cops was just kind of like, anything's sweet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. John started making it super hard to live there after that, kind of.
Right. I forgot the gentleman's name, but remember the guy they kept interviewing and he had them goddamn banging ass cookies sitting in front of him?
Nigga, I forgot about that. Yes,
that them cookies look good in the bitch.
They did look delicious.
He said this was the first time that a gun was pulled on someone, i.e. Dan, and nobody, like, he was like, we probably should have did something about it, but we didn't. You know what I'm saying? And he said it, though. And back to the point that I made, he literally said that because Dave said, John's all right. That This is why they turned a blind eye. I want y'all to think about, and something, actually, shout out to Scoops. Shout out to when we were on their show and talking about age difference. The only reason I bring that up is because I'm telling y'all, man, in the 80s, bro, it was more of a thing of like, niggas didn't understand. I feel like niggas, the amount of money that flowed through everybody's hands in the 80s was so fucking ridiculously dope. That you was either broke because you was doing crack or you was rich because you was
selling,
you know what I mean, making money. And that's just kind of the way the world worked. And so I think a lot of those people just kind of fell into that. So when we look at everything that portrayed up until this point, it was really more of people being like, "Hey, Dan, I hear you, but I'm getting this money."
Right.
John, I hear you,
but
me, my nigga, and I need to figure out how to keep you crazy so I can
True shit. So obviously, naturally, after this situation, fucking Dave's wife is like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Now we didn't really talk about their relationship a lot, Dave's and his wife's relationship, but she is 100% super supportive of him and his whole career. She didn't even know that he was a wrestler when she met him at all. This nigga hella downplay who he was.
When I say a bitch got the bag simply off of being a good woman, like
she really
literally got the bag off of not chasing the money.
Yeah, like literally. So I mean, like, so talk about like somebody who super supported everything that he did, everything that he wanted. Like she basically said, like that was our life, like was to push him to be the best that he could be. Like, and she was super down. So I felt like when she said it was time to go, it was probably time to go. Right. But remember how we were saying how he was older.
Let me just make a point real quick, and I'm gonna let you make your point.
Mm-hmm.
If we really look at everything that was going on, and as sad as it sounded, it's like anything. Let's think about anybody right now. People, we just can't. We kind of still going through it, but we're coming out of COVID. People lost their jobs, lost their homes, things like that. Where the fuck do you go? These men, now again, remember, they already knew there was a life expectancy of 23, 24 years old. And then, fuck it, I gotta go find a real job.
Right.
Now, when you're mid-30s, early 40s, and you're still wrestling, and all of a sudden your wife is like, yo, we need to go. Bitch, where the fuck are we going?
I hear you.
Because when it was time to go, that was even when it was time for Dan to leave, that literally was one of his things. It's like, where the fuck am I supposed to go?
Right.
I have a home. I've raised my family here. Like, that's what I don't want y'all to think that when we say that these people were just living here, it was just, I'm only here to wrestle. No. They sending kids to school. They making new babies. In-laws are coming. Like, this
all of
this. Literally their
all
life.
Of this. Yeah. All of this. But what was I saying?
Now you was talking about
okay, but after but also because again she supported everything that he was doing. He's 37 now. Right. It's probably like his last chance to probably qualify again for the Olympics.
Right.
So she understands his reasoning and they stay. John at this point is basically telling everybody that Dave is a fucking demon at this point.
Yep.
And we are now at the day. So it has snowed 24 hours straight. Okay. We don't really talk.
Shout out to the editor and the producer of this part, because as sad as what happened, the build up right here was fucking amazing.
It was. Because we get an insight on the kind of dad, because we kind of talk about the kind of wrestler that he is, and we talk about the kind of friend that he is, Dave is, but we don't really understand or really see. I mean, there's some videos along the way that you see how good of a dad he is, but he, sometimes they share the responsibility of picking the kids up.
Right.
Dave came to practice with the word kids on his on his forehead. So he wouldn't forget to go pick his kids up. And another wrestler said, "Yo, why you got it on your head? Like you don't be looking in the mirror, my nigga." Like, and he was like, "Oh, don't trip. That's why I got it here too."
Here too.
He had kids on his forehead. He had kids on his hands. So he wouldn't have forgot to pick up the kids that day. That it was his day.
Like the Google Calendar.
Yes, basically. So the main cop that we talked through most of the documentary is on this part. He comes to the compound that morning. Mm-hmm. John calls him over because of the 24-hour snowstorm. He wants him to help survey the land, basically, to assess the damages, right?
Yep.
They get in the car. John comes to get in the car. He got his camera, which makes sense to take pictures of the damage. Yep. And then a gun.
A pistol like that.
So he came with a camera and a pistol. Why does he need a pistol?
Is for y'all that have watched the documentary, John had mad guns.
Mad guns.
Never cared that there were mad guns. But every time somebody mentions this pistol, you can see it in their eyes that John was on some other shit. And
yep.
I know niggas that didn't carry the pistol in their waist, put the pistol on their hip, put the pistol in their back. I ain't never known any nigga. I'd have been around dope boys, white boys. I ain't never known a nigga to carry a pistol under here. Well,
nigga.
This nigga literally carried the pistol under his armpit, my nigga.
Nigga, like a newspaper.
Come on, bro. Niggas had these up.
So, then they're riding around the complex. So they're riding around the complex, assessing the damage. Dave's family, meanwhile, is having lunch that day.
Right.
John pulls up to the house.
Yep.
Dave comes out.
He calls him, yeah. Now, mind y'all, I think we made this point, but he's literally mad at Dave because Dan's van is there, and because he told Dan to leave. Dave, I look at you as my son, my friend, my whatever, and you're harboring somebody, or at least I think you're harboring somebody who's dangerous to me. Yep.
Who he feels is dangerous to him. Yep. And so John sticks his arm out the car and shoots him. Nancy, his Dave's wife, naturally calls 911. There's even a clip of kind of like the panic call that she's making to 911. John fucking whips the car. So here's the interesting thing. Something that they didn't really super make clear in the movie. But the cop actually, when he shot, he tried to get out of the car.
Yeah.
To either assess that or to stop John.
Right. Yep.
And John fucking peels out with this nigga hanging on and drives back to his house on the compound.
Yep.
He tells the nigga that's hanging from his car, the police are coming and don't let them in.
Do not let them in.
You just kill somebody.
Yo.
I forgot to mention, this is important to probably say this right now. On this compound, he flies the Foxcatcher flag higher than the American flag.
Yo, that's the reason that's so important is because when this first started out, his whole fucking purpose of even bringing Foxcatcher into this was to make America a better fucking country in the sports world. And so at the beginning of it, it literally starts out with them knowing, with us knowing. If you turn the documentary on, you press play. One of the first scenes you see is somebody got murdered. You don't know who, but you hear this man talking to the police. And one thing he says is, "I'm a diplomat. I got diplomatic papers to discuss." And at first you're like, "Oh, okay, who is this motherfucker?" Now fast forward all the way to where we are now, to what Chris just said. He flew Foxcatcher higher than America. This nigga was not a fucking diplomat at all, but he thought, bitch, this Foxcatcher country, I made the Olympic team what it is. I made these cops who they are. I fucking employed all these people. Again.
Foxcatcher over anything, nigga.
When the Rockefeller chains on it.
Nigga.
When your money, again, man, like Robbie, like we talked about this already. They made they let this man beat fucking buff ass world renowned known wrestlers because they was getting the fucking bag. Literally, the nigga with the bag who was giving everybody the bag is the nigga who was getting played the most. DuPont was getting played by everybody outside of Dave's shows.
The nigga that he killed. Literally every fucking body was playing him except the nigga that he murdered.
Yep.
So he goes in the house and basically he just do whatever the fuck he wants to. Listen to me. And I want every motherfucker out here to really think about this, okay? When ever in the history of life has a nigga called SWAT? SWAT comes and SWAT don't SWAT. Like, listen.
You ain't know SWAT to get to a gate and be like, we good.
We'll wait. Okay, here's the thing. I thought that niggas called SWAT when the regular niggas couldn't get in.
Right.
That's you call SWAT when you're done asking questions.
Right.
I thought it works a lot different when your family's names ring bells in the fucking town. So SWAT comes, and basically it's a pizza party outside. I really don't know how to explain it. Like, they call him on the phone, and they're having these like ginger ass conversations with him. Like, and he's basically like, "Get the fuck off my line! Like, leave me alone! Stop bothering me!" Like, he's literally talking to these niggas like he's inconvenienced here.
The nigga said, now mind you, again, I'm from the hood. I done been around a lot of shit. Again, John McAfee has to be one of the most, for a nigga to look a cop in the face and be like, nigga, do you know who the fuck I am?
Nigga.
John DuPont was
nigga. What is with white niggas named John? Like, let's really break it down here.
This nigga DuPont told him, he said, hey, pretty much, I don't know what y'all gonna do about this, but I'm
about to lay down. And guess what? And guess what? They let this nigga go to bed.
They let him go to bed. And then the funny part,
they had a press conference at the end of that night and was just like, yeah, we had basically they was talking like they met this nigga on Tinder. They was like, yeah, we had like some super cool interactions with him or whatever, but you know what I'm saying? Like, we done talking for the night because he's asleep or whatever. Like, that's basically what they said.
And the reporter was like,
nigga. So y'all gonna go in, or like y'all wait for him to go to sleep and then y'all gonna fucking attack?
It's not Dick LaFrame, the nigga that originally was the head of police when they was on the compound. But the dude that they're talking to was a deputy at the time, right? And I think he was the chief of police at this time. And he pretty much had to keep it a buck. Like, he was like, yo, why'd you let him go to sleep? And he was like, well, my answer to that is I don't know.
I'm sorry, what? You didn't, before you came up to this microphone, you didn't think somebody in the audience was gonna ask that? Like,
right. Like, nigga, he killed somebody at lunchtime yesterday. It's lunchtime today, and he's still at his own house.
And this nigga kept hanging up on these niggas. Like, and SWAT is outside.
Like your baby mother call you like,
listen,
nigga,
I'm off of it. Like, I'm cool, bitch.
This nigga DuPont literally, and it's so sad because again, as fucked up as a man is dead. A man literally got killed for walking out of his home. A man was murdered who supported this man simply because
who was his only friend, his
only fucking friend. And when this man is dead, we are so fucking engulfed in, damn, can we still get the bag? That you don't go arrest this nigga.
Nigga, they are really calm. They have SWAT outside, and SWAT is not swatting. They let this nigga go to bed. He keep hanging up their fucking phone calls and not answering the phone and shit. So after they let him have a good night's sleep, they decide, okay, I guess we'll like do something. So they cut the heat off in his home, in the mansion.
Right.
Of course, if y'all know about mansions and big houses and shit, they usually have like cold house floors and shit. So it gets cold very fast. Right. So they call him. You're like, hey, what's up, John? Like, what's good? What you doing in there? And then winter. He like, right. And it's winter because remember the 24-hour snowstorm. Right. So they're like, what's good, bro? And they like, just literally chilling. Can y'all fix the heat? And then they like, yeah. See, like the thing is though, is like, we can't really like just like have people just coming in here like fixing stuff. He was like, oh, okay, cool, I understand. How about I fix it? And they was like, damn, John, like that's a really good idea. Like you should just go fix it. And he's like, all right, bro, I'm gonna have on all black and my Bulgarian flag on the back. Like he definitely made sure that you niggas know he's still repping. And he was like, I'm gonna have my Bulgarian flag on. Don't fucking bother me. I'm just about to go to the whatchamacallit and fix the heat real fast. Everybody outside know he can't fix the heat outside because they turned it off. Like it's off. Like
that shit off, right?
So this man walks. Guys, at this point, it's been 50 hours about.
Yeah.
Since the time John's or not John. Dave's been dead. Dave's been dead for about 50 hours now, y'all.
Now, mind you, before we even get to the point to what Chris is about to tell y'all, I need y'all to understand that his wife says, I go outside and I see him on the ground and he's doing this. He's going, and she said when he did that, as a wrestler, that was a way to calm himself down and say, all right, I'm good.
I got you. I got this.
I got you. I'm all right. She said he did that 2 or 3 times, and then he just stopped.
To tell you how hard of a nigga this nigga was.
Mind you, he had kids written on his hand and on his forehead.
On his forehead.
His children have no fucking idea. All the way to the next fucking day that their fucking father is fucking dead. And you are letting this other nigga sleep peacefully, my dude. Like, this
is real raggedy. It's very raggedy. It's very raggedy.
This had to be one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. But literally, the disgust I felt. Nigga, I done done a lot of, I ain't gonna front. I ain't never robbed no nigga because I just think that shit's wrong. But I done a lot of fucked up shit to get the bag. This shit made me feel disgusting. And I'm like, the fuck, bro? Like, y'all watch the nigga get murdered. Well, not watch, but you know a man has been murdered. And his wife can't even get to their children to even let their children know that their father is no longer.
Because it's a standoff on the fucking shit. Because it's a standoff. And you can't, like. So, guys, 50 hours. This nigga get dressed, put his fucking Bulgarian flag on his back, you know what I'm saying, for all his people, and he fucking go outside. Okay, so this Bulgaria forever, nigga. So listen, so
BG for life.
He gonna get that tat on his chest, nigga. Okay, so this is probably one of my favorite parts because how the cop describes what happened at this point. So DuPont steps outside and begins to walk towards where he's walking. A cop comes out of the bushes and like, yeah, motherfucker, time's up. You ain't getting no fucking heat. You get Heaton County. And so John does this thing like, are these niggas really? Because I definitely told this nigga on the phone not to fuck. Like, these niggas is really about to arrest me.
Right.
And so he kind of does this a couple of times and like, then he's like, I'm going to run back inside. But obviously the cop, because he's old as shit, the cop definitely tackles him and gets him in custody. Guys, 50 hours. I just really, when have you guys ever seen SWAT pull up and not do what the fuck they came to do is what I'm trying to tell you. They didn't even use SWAT.
Look, I literally had a gun put to my fucking temple by SWAT because I went to turn a radio down in somebody's car. You telling me?
And these niggas can't open up a door.
Nigga who killed a nigga? And then on top of this, now, I don't know, for everybody that's watching, I don't know if y'all know anything about Waco and David Koresh. Mm-hmm. I don't wholeheartedly agree with David Koresh, but what I do know is that those cops had no reason to go into that man's house when they did. Mm-hmm. You wholeheartedly had a reason to go into this man's house. You bitch niggas ain't even on. The nigga who got the cop, the way I saw it, originally SWAT, my nigga, stayed outside of the compound. The regular cops and SWAT is all outside the gates. Nobody's even in here. And then a few niggas was like, nah. Once they got that nigga on the phone, and he was like, oh, I'm going to go do this. Then it was like, all right, bet. Let's get some niggas over there. Or maybe they already had a couple niggas staged. Bruh. What? Okay, even if it was let him go to sleep. Why the fuck did we just storm this nigga crib while
he was asleep? That's all I'm saying.
Him to make the fucked up decision to say,
to be like, I'll do it my fucking self. All you niggas outside and y'all just gonna let me fucking freeze them.
Right. What if randomly this nigga John DuPont just had mad space heaters?
Nigga. He just never came out. Nigga, he just never came outside. Listen, so the trial, right? So he gets arrested, the trial. Every time it's time for him to come into court, he starts to look more and more like Castaway. Like, he starts to just let his, like, hair grow out, his facial hair, like, everything. And I'm guessing it's to look crazy.
Yeah. Because the day his first day in court, he had short hair, no beard. The next time we see him, he was still walking, full beard, longer hair. That third time, my nigga was in that wheelchair like...
Nigga. Doing the fucking, what's the Silky Johnson nigga from fucking Dave Chappelle? When every time Charlie Murphy got ready to do, he'd be like... So listen, it took a whole fucking year. So if y'all thought that the fucking standoff was long, it took a whole year for these niggas to say that he's a it was third degree murder. Third degree.
I want y'all to go back to something Chris said. She just said he got third degree. When a nick, she literally told y'all this nigga pulled a pistol out, whipped it out the window, and shot him in front of a fucking federal agent, and it took a year.
He got into the car with a gun.
With a federal agent.
Prior to this day, he was telling y'all and showing y'all that he definitely had murder on his mind.
Shout out to Wayne Melly.
Like I'm just saying, like, but nigga tell you he got murder on his mind, you gotta believe he got murder on his mind.
Remember the part where he had the little Uzi?
Oh, and he almost blew his shoulder out, nigga.
And he put it down and was like, oh, and shot it. Use it. Like, yo.
Listen, so the fact that he got third degree is insane to me, and it just literally doesn't make sense to me because it seems premeditated as fuck.
Fuck yeah. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, regardless of paranoia, regardless of drug use, regardless of anything, the biggest thing about this, the only reason is, I'm not going to say the only reason, but the biggest reason this documentary is what it is because he was the youngest child in the heir of one of the most prominent families in all of America. Mm-hmm. And the man you hired to make your fucking team better was the best fucking wrestler that America has ever fucking seen. Y'all made a relationship and you killed that nigga.
And not even because, and there was nothing that Dave ever did to him to give him a reason to do that.
Everybody shitted on John DuPont with the exception of fucking Dave Schultz and his family. Nigga, I ain't gonna say Robbie shitted on him, but he kind of did.
He did.
Dan never shitted on him, as far as we know. But Dave literally was the most loyal, dedicated person to John DuPont, and he murdered him.
True shit. So basically, that's it. I don't really want to. There's a part of this documentary that I thought was just very interesting that I'm just gonna allow y'all to just watch and really just take in.
Are you talking about the air part?
Huh?
That the air?
So okay, yeah. So just really quick, guys, because we almost at like an hour and 40. So third degree murder, that's what he got accused of. Nancy and Dave's wife ends up filing a wrongful death suit. It was settled outside of court, so she's good. John ends up dying in jail. And this is the part where like everybody's kind of like at Dave's funeral having their like remorse for the things that they felt like were red flags that they should have fucking picked up on, things that they felt that they're regretful for. Just everybody owning up and owning up to their piece of responsibility in the situation, right? But I want you guys to just watch that because it was just very interesting to see what a super huge impact Dave had on people's lives. Like truly.
Yeah. Even 30 years later now. Yeah.
Now remember we said I think we'll end it on this because I think this is probably the best thing to leave you guys with. Remember the Bulgarian? Valentine and Dave were best friends. Everybody, all of the Schultz considered him to be like their god, like the godfather. Like after Dave died, he stopped fucking with them.
Valentine pieced the fuck out.
When John DuPont died, Valentine got named his sole heir.
That nigga got
to
everything.
the shit.
You're not gonna make me believe that nigga that Valentine didn't get that shit because Valentine deserved it. Valentine got that shit because John knew he was fucking wrong for killing Dave, and that's the closest thing to Dave that was still alive.
I mean, the Schultzes don't have none of that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that undisclosed amount was not $100,000.
Oh, of course not. Of course not. I think it was. I don't know. It was wrong. I don't know.
But now let's just be honest.
Yeah.
If I killed your husband and then made your kid my heir, you think he's gonna take it? Nah, not at all.
That's fucked up.
That's what I'm saying, and that's why he didn't make the Schultz kid his heir. He knew they wouldn't take that money. But if I give it to Valentine, maybe Valentine turns it over. Now, don't get me wrong. Like the Schultz kid said, this nigga ain't called us, said nothing, do nothing.
Right.
And this nigga Valentine chilling in fucking Pennsylvania with black houses and
nigga. Right. And you know, one thing that I thought was interesting about the kids was that how the daughter got so emotional about John being dead.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
No. So when they on the documentary tell everybody that John died in jail, they go to Dave's daughter. She was small when all this happened. They were younger, and now they're grown. But so she kind of got teary eyed, and she was saying how it kind of wasn't fair about John's death because everybody, when her dad died, everybody was mourning and everybody cared, and then when John died, he didn't get that. I don't know what the fuck you care, bitch, because your daddy did everything that he was supposed. Like your daddy was the best friend that man had, and that man didn't know what the fuck that looks like, and in turn killed him. And I don't know why you feel like that, girl.
Listen, I don't support George Bush in anything ever, but the most gangster shit George Bush ever said was, "Mr. President, why did you go after Saddam Hussein? He tried to kill my daddy." Nigga, so, that's it.
That's all I really need to know. Like
the fact that people celebrated when he died. Bitch, he killed your daddy. Regardless if the rest of the world gave a fuck or not, you should not be giving up two shit. I can't speak because, like I said, I operate from a space of love. I say that all the time, so I can't really speak on her emotions. But as much as I love my father, I wish him up. Man, please. I'm about to give a fuck that the nigga who killed my dad. Nobody gives a shit about him. I don't give a fuck.
Not one.
That was a little confusing for me too, but.
But basically, guys, that's it. That is Team fucking Foxcatcher. That is the crazy ass story of John DuPont and Dave Schultz. It's on Netflix. You guys are more than welcome to see it. It is literally one of my favorites. So if y'all ever want to shoot me something about it after y'all watch it, I'm here. You guys know where to find me. I know that people have been asking us to do more sports ones, and I know that this is kind of a sports one, so it's not really a sports one because it's still kind of true crime, kind of. But it's so good, Autumn. It's really good. But we are going to. I'm gonna try to figure out how we can incorporate more sports options. I have this idea. I don't know if I'm on a wrestling kick. I don't know if I'm on a wrestling kick right now, but I have this idea about the next time that we'll do this. Probably not the next pod or the next documentary, but we'll put it on the. I put it on the wheel is what I'm saying. Right. So, but guys, Netflix Team Foxcatcher, it's a fucking amazing. And I hope I didn't tell y'all from watching the movie with John DuPont. Steve Carell plays him in the movie, so I don't want to deter y'all from watching it. It's great, but it doesn't. When y'all, if you guys are looking for the facts, it's definitely going to be the documentary.
I know y'all love us and we love y'all, but this literally was a really good fucking documentary, a really good one. So
it really was. It really was. So, all right. Well, that's it. I'm Chris. VJ
is still in the air, possibly.
Maybe, but she's part of us, so we still say it. And then that's Penrose. So that's it. It's all docked up, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Peace. Bye.